welcome. My name is Suzette Arruda Santos, and I'm the CEO of Yorktown Family Services. Thank you for joining us here today. We begin today with a land acknowledgement. We begin this meeting by acknowledging that we are meeting on Aboriginal land that has been inhabited by Indigenous peoples for centuries. As settlers, we're grateful for the opportunity to meet here, and we thank the generations of people who have taken care of this land long before other nation groups came. In particular, we acknowledge the traditional territories of the Ojibwe, the Anishinaabe, and the Mississaugas of the New Credit, whose territory we are gathering on today. This territory is covered by the Upper Canada Treaties. We recognize and deeply appreciate their historic connection to this place. We also recognize the contributions the Métis, Inuit First Nations, and other Indigenous peoples have made in shaping and strengthening this province and this country as a whole. This recognition of the contributions and historic importance of Indigenous peoples must also be clearly and overtly connected to our collective commitment to make the promise and the challenge of truth and reconciliation real in our communities, and in particular, to bring justice for murdered and missing Indigenous women and girls across the country. We also need to continuously educate ourselves about colonial history of this country and understand how the wrongdoing of the past still impacts the present and the future. I encourage everyone in this room to actively seek information and take action. It's my pleasure, my sincere pleasure, to welcome you all this morning to celebrate the official launch of the West Toronto Youth Wellness Hub. In 2023, Yorktown Space was recognized as a youth wellness hub and rebranded as the West Toronto Youth Wellness Hub. We're pleased, very pleased, to have you join us for the official launch as Yorktown joins an extensive network of youth wellness hubs across Ontario. As a Youth Wellness Hub Ontario Network member, Yorktown's Toronto Wellness Hub provides youth and their families with an inclusive, welcoming space where they can walk in seamlessly and access a full range of integrated services, barrier-free services, through a multidisciplinary service model. The West Toronto Youth Hub is uniquely positioned with a community health centre at Unison to offer mental health and substance abuse supports, primary health care, dental care, social services, and more, all while fostering social connections, important social connections, through recreational skill development and well-being programs. And now it's my very sincere pleasure to introduce Minister Michael Tibollo, Associate Minister of Mental Health and Addictions. But first, a few words about the Minister. Prior to taking office, the Honourable Michael A. Tibollo volunteered as a certified addictions counsellor and advocated for a bed-based therapeutic community in the city of Vaughan, seeking to support those struggling with mental health and addiction challenges. Passionate about helping those faced with mental health and addictions challenges, Minister Tibollo is currently pursuing his PhD in clinical psychology with a focus on addictions and concurrent disorders through the University of Southern California. Minister Tibollo holds several Canadian Addiction Counselors Certification Federation certifications, including the Canadian Certified Addiction Counselor, Canadian Certified Recovery Coach, Canadian Indigenous Addiction Counselor, Canadian Certified Telemedicine Addiction Counseling Professional. Minister Tibollo proudly serves the people of Ontario as the province's first Associate Minister of Mental Health and Addictions, and has made it his mission to create a connected system of care with comprehensive wraparound services so that every Ontarian feels fully supported in their journey towards mental wellness. Minister Tibollo.
Good morning, everyone, and Suzette, thank you for that kind introduction. It really is an honor for me to be here this morning and join you all to talk about another great investment and new youth wellness hub for the province of Ontario. And I want to congratulate Yorktown Family Services and the entire team at Youth Wellness Hubs Ontario on the grand opening of Ontario's newest youth wellness hub. We're now approaching, we are at actually 22 youth wellness hubs in the province. And you know, it's taken a lot of work, a lot of effort to make these hubs a reality. But I want to give a particular shout out to Dr. Jo Henderson. Her tireless advocacy for the youth of this province, especially on a day like today, is and must be acknowledged. Dr. Henderson deserves this recognition because it's her vision and her real passion for this area that has sparked a passion in me wanting to see more of these. And of course, we're seeing the outcomes already. And so thank you, Dr. Henderson, for making more people in the province of Ontario and the province of Ontario a healthier place for everyone. Despite having had weather challenges over the last few weeks, this is the third youth wellness hub that Dr. Henderson and myself have opened. Just a couple of weeks ago, we were in Sudbury, stuck there because our youth wellness hub in Sault Ste. Marie opened. We managed to get ourselves to Sagamok to open the first Indigenous youth wellness hub, and then we were told that our flights back to Toronto were delayed till the next day because of a snowstorm. So it made it a little more interesting than usual to open up those hubs, but of course, I'm certainly glad to be here today and weather cooperating to be able to open up this third hub in the series of hubs that are being opened. As we approach the one-year anniversary of the launch of the Youth Health Plan, today's opening also marks the steady progress we've been making to implement that plan, that is, to open the youth wellness hubs for the youth. And over the past years, we've expanded access to mental health supports for young people across the province by opening an additional 8 new youth wellness hubs in diverse communities throughout Ontario. That, as I said, brings us to 22 youth wellness hubs since 2020. The services that are provided at these hubs, everything from basic life skills and resiliency building to primary care, early intervention, and mental health and addiction supports, make these investments no-brainers for us. They're also showing clearly positive results. Youth wellness hubs across the province have served over 43,000 youth since 2020 and have had nearly 170,000 total visits. That's 43,000 kids who could have been anywhere else, but they're coming to these youth wellness hubs because these are the places that they can feel safe to be themselves, where they can find help if they need help, and most importantly, relate to other youth and share experiences that also helps those other youth. You know, when I look at the statistics in Canada with respect to youth mental health Canada reported 1.2 million youth in Canada that are affected by mental illness. Now, if Ontario represents roughly 40% of the population, that's 300,000 youth that are in need of supports. 43,000 unique visits tells me that we're starting to make a difference. We're starting to build a system of care where we're providing these youth the supports and services that they desperately need. And I always say, think about it for a moment, where would those 43,000 kids be if these youth wellness hubs didn't exist? And as we continue growing the youth wellness hubs, I know that there will be more than 43,000 children and youth that are going to be impacted upon, and this will have a profound impact on their lives as they become adults. And based on the huge success of Ontario's youth wellness hubs, I'm pleased to announce that we will be opening an additional 5 youth wellness hubs to connect even more youth to mental health services closer to home. These hubs are not only a way to meet a current need for these supports and services, but they're also upstream investments in the mental health of this province. And we know that investments today will lead to a strong, resilient, and healthy youth tomorrow. And that is important if we want the province to grow financially, economically, but also as a healthy province. And so even though we're already seeing the positive impact of these hubs, I know that we're still going to repeat rewards. We are going to continue reaping rewards, of these investments for decades to come. And when it comes to child and youth mental health, we are the first government in Ontario's history to treat this issue with the seriousness it deserves. This is why we added mental health education to grade 7, 8, and 10 curricula. This is why we've opened 16 additional youth treatment beds for children with complex mental health needs and 12 more beds that are opening soon. This is why we've made it more convenient for children to access supports through immediate text, talk, or virtual mental health counseling. And we've invested nearly $33 million in mental health and addiction supports that meet the needs of Indigenous communities. Once again, I want to say how proud I am of the work that's being done by YHU and the team here at Yorktown Family Services to stand up West Toronto's Youth Wellness Hub. I know from experience that this will be an incredible resource for young people in the area, and I look forward to celebrating all your future successes. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister, for your kind words, and I'm glad the weather was on our side today. I agree. Thank you once again. It's my pleasure, my sincere pleasure, to introduce Dr. Joe Henderson, Executive Director of Youth Wellness Hubs Ontario. Dr. Joe Henderson is the Executive Director of Youth Wellness Hubs Ontario. They are also Director of the Margaret and Wallace McCain Centre for Child, Youth, and Family Mental Health, and Senior Scientist at the Centre for Addiction and Mental Health, and Professor in the Department of Psychiatry at the University of Toronto. Their work aims to improve access to high-quality, integrated services for youth with substance use, health, and/or mental health concerns, and their families.
Thank you. Thank you, Suzette, for that warm introduction, and good morning, everyone. It's really fantastic to be here. Thank you for joining us on this really important day to celebrate the opening of Youth Wellness Hubs Ontario and the West Toronto Youth Wellness Hub. As many of you know, Youth Wellness Hubs Ontario is a provincial initiative that supports existing service providers along with youth and their families to come together in a community approach that delivers holistic services, developmentally appropriate care, and we do this with and for young people to improve mental health outcomes and really thinking about every young person in Ontario and what their individual needs are. On behalf of the entire Youth Wellness Hubs Ontario Provincial Office, I would like to extend my sincerest congratulations on the incredible work that is done here to ensure that the youth in West Toronto have access to integrated youth services that meet them where they're at. This hub in particular is an exemplar of the YHU Integrated Youth Services model in so many ways, in part because it has been about community members coming together, service providers, partners, young people and their families working tirelessly to make this hub happen. We're very grateful for the active and collaborative community partnerships here in West Toronto, including Yorktown Family Services, Humber River Health, Unison Health and Community Services, and over 7 other additional partners who have made the development of this hub possible. Your commitment to integrating services that are specifically designed for young people to become part of a network is building momentum for Youth Wellness Hubs Ontario networks across the province and will help us to achieve better outcomes for youth, not only locally, but across the province as well. And these are better outcomes that young people deserve. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Henderson. It's my pleasure to introduce our next speaker, Neeli Grewal, our Youth Wellness Hub Ontario West Toronto Manager at Yorktown Family Services. Neeli holds a Master of Arts in Counseling Psychology and is registered with the College of Registered Psychotherapists of Ontario. Neeli has over 10 plus years of working within the mental health and addictions sector, supporting children, youth, young adults, and families. Neeli brings a diverse background. Through her extensive experience in the sector, she has been able to support ongoing efforts on a systemic level to minimize barriers and increase seamless access in community-based mental health settings. Neeli strives to continue to leverage a combination of her frontline and managerial experience to participate in groundbreaking work to inform multifaceted approaches to psychosocial service implementation. Yorktown is very, very lucky to have Neeli. Neeli?
Good morning, everyone. I am honored to be supporting the implementation of the Youth Wellness Hub in West Toronto. I have had the opportunity to work with a wonderful team of professionals who are dedicated to contributing to the positive service experiences across primary health, mental health, and social services. Through this opportunity, we embarked on a journey to build pathways of care for youth and their families across different sectors into the hub services. This has been a groundbreaking and progressive initiative which has successfully responded to the vast needs of youth in the West. We have seen youth accessing multiple services, ranging from seeing their physician, attending a youth group, and seeking out therapy services within the hub space. Over the last 2 years, we have been able to engage with key stakeholders in the West Toronto community to offer a basket of services, which aid in reducing difficulty youth and their families experience across different domains of their life. Youth Wellness Hubs Ontario has supported hub networks like West Toronto to be able to promote robust, integrated care and measurement-based care models to ensure quality of service, improve access, and reduce barriers for service users. With the backbone and infrastructure support, we have been able to enhance our service delivery approach in the West Toronto community in a rapid, effective, yet warm manner. I would like to thank our partners, our frontline staff in the West Toronto and the Waihu provincial team, who have been open, accessible, enthusiastic, and keen to improving access and service experiences for youth and their families in our communities. Thank you. I will now like to introduce Daniel Tziatis, Program Director, Mental Health and Addictions from Humber River Health. So I'm just going to hold this up here. Daniel Tziatis from Humber River Health has joined in January of 2023, where he currently leads a portfolio of both inpatient, outpatient, and community-based mental health programs with a goal of integrated community care. Daniel has intense focus on transitions in care and building sustainable community partnerships to support patients in their home. Daniel has held progressive leadership positions at both CAMH and Trillium Health Partners as well, plays an important role in the continued development of Mental Health and Addictions Ontario Health Team in Northwest Toronto. Thank you.
Good morning. What an incredible day it is today to celebrate the rebranding and opening of West Toronto's Youth Wellness Hub. My name is Daniel Tziatis, and I am the Program Director at Humber River Health, supporting the Mental Health and Addiction Program. Wellness Hubs ensures the wellness of our community by providing access to the right services at the right time and at the right place. And we are thrilled at Humber River Health to be partnered with such an incredible and amazing organization. I want to take a moment and spotlight the Care Navigation Program through our partnership with the West Toronto Youth Wellness Hub. Their Care Navigation Program offers service coordination and triage supports for youth and families from age 12 to 29 with complex mental health needs, requiring support for a transition from primary care systems to community-based mental health systems. Care Navigation Program receives referrals directly from Humber River Health, from Unison Community Health Services, University Health Network, as well as Garrison Creek Family Physician Team, with the goal to provide rapid service coordination response to clients who are not connected to mental health services in the community. Care Navigation is activated when a youth and family, when there is identified no community connections for a youth leaving a hospital setting, who have no supports in place and who need to build a circle of care. Patients who are at an elevated risk or at the higher end of risk scales requiring stabilization, or patients with multiple presentations to our emergency department. It also aims to support transitions from primary care or crisis response to community mental health for a continuation of care and a continuation of care plans throughout their treatment trajectory. Through our partnership with the West Toronto Youth Wellness Hub, in the past few months, we have seen over 40 referrals from Humber River Health to this organization. Over 90% of those patients being transitioned from Humber River Health found this process seamless and a feeling of continuity with limited disruptions during this transition. Less than 15% of these patients required representation to the emergency department while within the Care Navigation Program. 100% of these patients had access to care within 24 to 48 hours through the Hub's Rapid Access Therapy Program. As well, 100% of patients had immediate access to social skills programming, such as employment supports, social skills development programs, and population-based programs such as Rainbow West. And over 80% of these patients waited less than 3 months for more intensive therapy services, though 100% of those patients were connected to less intensive services while waiting. As a community hospital at Humber River Health, we are thrilled to be partnered with this Youth Wellness Hub and are looking forward to our continued support as we navigate youth wellness in Northwest Toronto. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Daniel. It's now my pleasure to introduce Sarah Downey, President and Chief Executive Officer of the Centre for Addictions and Mental Health. Sarah Downey is a senior healthcare leader whose career spans 25 plus years across a broad range of hospitals, including community, academic, and complex multi-institutional organizations. In 2022, Sarah was appointed President and CEO of the Centre for Addiction and Mental Health, Canada's largest mental health and addiction teaching hospital, and a world-leading research centre in this field. For 7 years, Sarah served as President and CEO of Michael Garron Hospital, a large community teaching hospital in Toronto, where she was responsible for a $500 million redevelopment project and played a key role in East Toronto Health Partners, one of the first Ontario health teams. Sarah has held progressive leadership positions at CAMH, University Health Network, and the Ottawa Hospital. She has made numerous contributions to healthcare in Ontario through her leadership of cancer and mental health programs, capital and strategic planning, workplace safety and wellness, and community building. Sarah has served on many provincial and national committees and boards. She is currently serving on the Ontario Hospital Association Board of Directors as past chair. Sarah is also the recipient of the Trudeau Medal, the highest honor awarded to the University of Ottawa Telfer School of Management to its alumni. Sarah has a Bachelor of Science in Biology from the University of New Brunswick and a Master of Health Administration from the University of Ottawa. She holds a Certified Health Executive designation with the Canadian College of Health Leaders and is fluently bilingual in French and English. Please join me in welcoming Sarah Downey.
Thank you, Suzette. It's such an honor to be here today. I've been a fan of youth wellness hubs for a long time. As you heard in my lengthy background, I was peripherally involved in creating one in East Toronto, and it's so awesome to be opening one here today in West Toronto. As many of you can see here today, the West Toronto Wellness Hub is not just a physical space. It represents a paradigm shift in the way we approach youth mental health. It embodies our collective dedication to creating a more accessible, responsive, and youth-friendly system of care. This hub is a beacon of hope, breaking down barriers and ensuring that every young person in our community can access the support they need when they need it. For so many young people, seeking help can be a daunting step. That's what makes youth wellness hubs so unique. Whether a young person is dealing with a mental health challenge, a substance use concern, housing insecurity, or a problem they can't even name yet, they can simply walk into a hub and get support. By offering clear service pathways, youth wellness hubs are making it easier for young people to navigate a complicated system during a difficult time. We want young people to know that they are not alone. That's why we're thrilled to welcome the West Toronto Youth Wellness Hub into the Youth Wellness Hubs Ontario family. By expanding integrated youth services to West Toronto, young Ontarians will be able to receive convenient access to high-quality mental health and addiction support when and where they need them, ensuring that no one is left behind. Thank you to everyone who's played a role in bringing this vision to life, to the community partners whose collective work made this all possible, to Dr. Joe Henderson and their team at the Waihu Provincial Office at CAMH, and to the Ontario government who continue to invest so importantly in youth mental health. Together, we are building a community where mental health thrives, no one is left behind, and every young person has the opportunity to reach their full potential. Thank you and congratulations.
Thank you so much, Sarah. Our next speaker this morning is Boyan Boyanov, a member of Yorktown's Youth Advisory Committee. Youth voice is critical in ensuring we're getting it right, so it's our sincere pleasure to have Boyan join us here today. Boyan Boyanov is a volunteer advisor on the Youth Advisory Committee that operates under Yorktown Family Services at the West Toronto Youth Wellness Hub. He is currently a college student studying in a paralegal diploma program and aiming to one day become a lawyer in Ontario. Boyan has a fair amount of political experience representing youth to both the provincial and federal governments, and is the owner of an environmental non-for-profit corporation that aims to clean up litter in the Greater Toronto Area through engaging, educating, and mobilizing our youth and providing them with volunteer hours. Boyan has come here to speak on behalf of the youth, both at the West Toronto Youth Hub and in general on the significance of wellness hubs, such as this one, and the overall importance of accessible and interconnected mental health services for young people. Please join me at the podium.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Boyan Boyanov, and I speak before you all today with the Honorable Michael Tibollo as a member of the Youth Advisory Council at the West Toronto Youth Wellness Hub. As a volunteer advisor, I work with other advisor members to help provide feedback on current services and programs offered at the West Toronto Youth Wellness Hub. I imagine and co-design new services and programs and explore ways for new partnerships and pop-up initiatives. Furthermore, I'm also the president of the Moulton branch of one of the largest political youth organizations in Canada under the Member of Parliament for Mississauga Moulton, and was until recently a volunteer manager for the Mayor of Mississauga's leadership campaign. I say this to underline my experience in representing the voice of young people and to say that I believe I speak for most, if not all, young residents of Ontario when I say how excited I am every time a new youth wellness hub is launched. The Ontario government announced funding for these integrated service hubs across the province aimed to address the gaps in the youth service system in February 2017. And I am proud to say that we have now launched 22 hub networks across the province. Youth Wellness Hubs Ontario is an initiative that aims to bring the right services to youth and their families at the right time and in the right place. It brings together different services in one, creating a one-stop shop for youth between the ages of 12 to 25 and making it simpler for families seeking support to get the services they need. During the COVID-19 pandemic, I have witnessed the impact on mental health in our communities and how many individuals, especially youth, have grappled with heightened levels of stress, isolation, and uncertainty. I witnessed firsthand people feeling overwhelmed and searching for support, yet unsure of where to turn and where to start. This highlighted a gap in our system that needed addressing and made me realize that mental health is health and should be treated as such. I believe that the funding of youth wellness hubs such as the one we are in today is a good first step on the long road ahead of us to tackle mental health problems in our province and help those who need help. Lastly, I want to thank the Honourable Minister and everyone else involved in planning today for giving me the opportunity to speak here. I am excited for the future of Ontario and hope to continue seeing youth wellness hubs pop up and expand. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Boyan. We're so lucky to have you, and what an inspiration. Thank you again, everyone, for joining us today and for coming here to learn about Youth Wellness Hubs Ontario and this particular hub, the West Toronto Youth Hub. And now I call Minister Tibollo back to the podium to be available for some questions and answers. Thank you.
Thank you very much.